BleedTV, the only podcast for today's best shows and movies. I'm Zack.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Cash.
And we've got The Walking Dead.
Yikes.
I mean, the episode kind of felt like that, but I mean, I wouldn't go that far.
Am I having, like, withdrawals?
I hope not. Jesus.
No, this would be WestWorld. Yes, no. I kind of felt like I was watching The Walking Dead a little bit, like you said, you know. Yeah, this was WestWorld. This was the...
Season 2, Episode 8.
And...
Jake.
Kiksuya? What it said?
Kiksuya or Kikuya or Kuyu.
And according to Reddit and a few other places, this is a what kind of word is what translation?
Sacred beings.
Sacred beings. Okay.
Lakota.
Yes, the Lakota tribe.
All right. So,
anyone thoughts on the episode?
not my favorite.
I hate to say it because I mean it was a beautiful episode. We were talking about it before the pod and everything. Fantastic hour of TV that had nothing to do with WestWorld. Like I don't know why.
I would say it didn't have nothing to do with it, but it just wasn't. Let me put it this way: if this was its own episode of its own thing, and we were just learning just about this character, this is a great episode. It's great television. This episode, with its timing of where it is in the season, and considering it had almost none of the main characters, really the majority of none of them were in there, and it didn't further any of the plot line of what we've seen for the last 4 or 5 episodes for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of felt like out of place to me. It was the biggest downer for me in the whole situation.
I understand where y'all are coming from. You know, I agree. It is strange positioning. This was more of a callback to season 1 than anything.
I would agree.
You know, the labyrinth. This is a huge part of season 1.
This is pretty much the first time we've seen about the labyrinth this season, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. So I like the callback. You know what I mean? To bring up something that was never,
fully explained and whatnot.
Absolutely.
And it still isn't.
But now we find out that it was actually Arnold that made the labyrinth, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we did learn some new information, and we did learn possibly what glory is.
At least the area.
Is possibly this door,
yeah.
Wherever this facility is.
But, I mean, not really, because that door got covered up and moved within the middle of the night.
Yeah, I know, but it's still there.
Yeah, so you think it's just filled in?
Yeah, I mean, you see, that was an underground facility. Yeah.
I mean, I just figured that was just another entrance into what we already know, which is the underground.
Right. I don't know. I just can't hate on the episode much because it's not like I didn't enjoy it immensely.
No, I mean, I enjoyed it wholeheartedly. I thought the filming of it, the cinematography of it, beautiful. They went up and beyond what they usually do. But it was just... It wasted an hour of WestWorld to me. And I mean, I think that's the biggest downer.
Within the current plot line.
Yeah.
Like Jay said, I think if this was something that was thrown in at the beginning of the season or last season, it makes total sense. Majority of it, not all of it, because there were some things. Now, I loved how this episode answered a lot of questions on some things that were very curious by people. And I love how it connected a few dots and answered some questions that we had earlier in the season. Again, it still was a great episode. It just didn't match. Like I figured last time, it just didn't match what I was expecting to be a number 8 episode of a season that's been going at such a good pace and good clip so far.
But we're also lacking information. So we're saying it has very little to do, and it seems out of place as far as we know.
True.
Next episode, all these characters come together, then it's right in place. You know what I'm saying?
I'll give you that.
Yeah, because you got to think.
But I mean, we could have just moved them right in place and not had this episode. I mean, I'm glad.
They had to explain what the Ghost Nation is doing.
True, but I mean, did we explain what they're doing?
Yeah, that's one of the big explanations.
That's one major deal that we were wondering about in these past episodes. It's like, why are they, not killing people? Why are they, doing all these strange things? Why did he say, I'm on the same path as you before he, snatched up the little girl? I think this was necessary. Did they require an entire episode to explain it? Possibly not. I do like they were sprinkling in Maeve at least a little bit.
True.
And a tad bit of Man in Black attached to this.
Well, I mean, the Man in Black parts, man, I wasn't feeling just because him still being alive.
Dude, I'm struggling with the Man in Black thing. Really struggling.
Yeah,
He's shot 4 times.
5
and we don't
times,
even see a pool of blood anywhere.
no, I agree with you. And I don't understand how they necessarily healed him either.
No, because we never saw him put any kind of paste or anything.
Who knows?
Stop the holes.
I don't have a clue. But we don't have to dive in it. But honestly, though, are we going to go scene by scene on this episode?
No, there's no point in this episode.
No. So
I think we just say what it is. Let's talk about the Man in Black part of it first. I mean, he's crawling over to the creek. He's got his hat on, and he's talking to himself about this isn't the place. I'm not going to die here, and so on. And then the leader of the Ghost Nation comes up and, picks him up. Again, like I watched this and I repeated it. I'm like, there's not even blood in the dirt. I'm like, he's got a wound in his arm, his other arm, his
leg,
abdomen, and his leg. Those are open wounds. You know what I mean? And I'm just...
All he's been doing is baking in the sun. And
for a show who does so well with detail, this is just a huge pitfall to me, man.
I mean, maybe.
Unless he comes out being that Joker is a freaking host.
But even Maeve is like dying, so I mean you can't even say that he's just a host.
Yeah, but Maeve is dying like a human would be dying, and she took way worse rounds than he did.
True. But I mean he took one in the abdomen. Like that's
she took 4.
6 across the body.
I mean, chest, belly, shoulders, everything. I mean, she took
it the hardest. Like I'm not saying that, but I mean, like he took it in crucial areas. I mean, he got one in the thigh.
I'm not denying.
Abdomen.
I'm not denying. Well, that's the thing. 2 arm shots and a leg shot, it would suck really bad. But unless they hit like your femoral artery or something like that in your leg,
true,
you could last a little longer than you think. But the gut wound is tough.
Yeah.
I wish they wouldn't have shot him in the abdomen. If they wanted to keep dragging him along. But in a way, it's like if they would have killed him right there, I'd have been super pissed too.
Oh yeah.
I want to see a good
ending for him.
Ending to his story. I
don't want answers, or I want him to truly go out in a blaze of glory to where he's firing back, hiding like an old Western. Not in the middle where Lawrence just ends up remembering everything and rightfully killing him.
So, I don't know. Man in Black's storyline for this episode is brief and not much to it other than the fact that his daughter comes to take him.
Somehow, some way, she figures out where he is, coming out speaking perfect Lakota, and gets him out of there.
Well, we knew she could speak the languages and stuff like that. She's been here since she was a child.
True.
But why did they give him up?
I think just because what she said,
that's a lot of faith for a man you want to suffer.
Much worse than what y'all are going to do.
But
also, I think we find out later on this guy, the head, what's his name, Aki.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's not a bloodthirsty killer.
No.
At this point.
I mean, not even really in general. He doesn't really want to kill her or anything. That's just he came back programmed like that.
Amongst his year, he did become the monster, but then he became self-aware.
But when he became aware that they had changed him and turned up his violence, that's when he stopped. He's like, "Oh, I've been here before. I've done these things." You see that scene where the 2 guests are in the background, like spinning their guns and giggling like they're drunk.
Yeah, and that's when he didn't kill the guy.
Because they're in no danger, no fear that these people could hurt him. I was like, man, what a great tidbit to throw in the background.
Absolutely.
That there's these, hosts that are just basically oblivious and don't care.
Because they know that they're perfectly safe.
Absolutely. I'm sorry I said host. I meant guest. But I enjoyed, I felt a more in-depth, more understandable way of explaining the same thing Dolores had gone through with her memories. You know what I'm saying? This really explains getting your memory, understanding that you've lived this before, and then you're starting to turn and alter it. You know,
See, I think it's closer to Maeve than
aware.
Dolores. Yeah,
yeah, I know, but Maeve has been turned up. You know what I'm saying?
she has been.
And the thing with Maeve too was she was a totally different character. Remember, she's prairie mom.
True.
Then they remove her from that to make her a brothel boss.
But I mean, he was two
madam.
completely different people too. I mean, he was living a simple life and everything. Then they turned him into a savage.
Agreed, but I feel like it's like a little bit different.
Okay.
You know, just the extremes of it. I don't know. Like I said, I struggle to talk about the episode much because a lot of it, like you said, is just beautiful cinematography.
Yeah,
it's like watching The Revenant.
That was the best thing I could compare it to when I was talking to somebody else.
Yeah.
I was like, because I hadn't seen the episode yet, and I was like, it's like The Revenant is the best way because there's not a lot of talking. You're doing a lot of subtitles, which I love personally.
A lot of voiceover.
Yep.
Which I highly enjoy. The makeup designers for Ghost Nation, for this guy and his like sidekick.
Yeah, like his people.
The guy who has the shaved mohawk.
The guy with the mohawk with the black tears.
Yeah.
Yep.
These two look so badass. Like, even when he's sitting there talking to the girl, and you know he's being sweet and no problems.
Terrifying.
He's terrifying. I'm just like, God, man.
Well, because he's got
Wash
the
that shit
handprints.
off. You're going to talk to somebody.
He's got the handprints on his neck, and then the other dude's got him on his chest, and I was just like...
Man, I'm floored by it. How well they did. And the fact that it's like the Joker's makeup where it's flaky.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It's clay based.
Yeah, it's like the sun baking down on you. You can see all the
Exactly.
wrinkles and stuff. And Logan, when he's laying there in the sun, whoever did his skin, phenomenal job.
Ugh, crispy.
It was gross.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. Him
Like I
running
said,
into Logan.
That's a good question answered. That's one of the things I loved about the episode is they find Logan. I love something else about this is that they explain the maze and how we found it on people who were scalped and how you found it on rocks and how it was found in different places was all this guy.
He was writing it everywhere.
Yeah.
He was writing everywhere, all because he found that piece right after Arnold the creator was killed.
So explain this to me, though. He starts putting it on scalps. How do they repair the scalps after he puts the maze on it?
I assume they just don't get a new one. They don't even look at it, put it on, and then melt it like they did with Arnold.
No. I'm talking about like, his right-hand man gets down on his knees. It's like, put it somewhere they can't find it. And has them scalped.
True.
And they put the maze on there.
I mean, all I can figure is they
Ford
cut it off and then they stick it back and let it heal.
let it heal?
Well, we saw him do it with Arnold, where he just lasers it right back on.
With lasers and technology. These people aren't living with that. I mean, Ford's over there scalping
Yeah.
6 or 7 of them and seeing mazes on all of them. I'm like, how did they...
Well, once you die,
Heal.
they come and get you.
Yeah.
And so it's
I
like,
know what you're saying. You're like, okay, how does that heal?
Well, because the thing... You remember Man in Black... Mm-hmm. What was that? First episode? Wasn't it Lawrence? He skins... Or you scalp somebody.
yeah. And we have the maze on their head and stuff.
And the maze on the head. I'm like, there's no scarring or anything like that. Like,
Yeah, because I'm assuming he just went back down. Like, after he had scalped it, they just didn't get the person a new scalp, and they just lasered it back on.
yeah, I don't know.
That's a stretch considering what we've seen.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
I just that was a
understandable.
weird part where I'm like, they're not saying like, oh, you scalp me, he dies, and then he goes back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's not what it looks like by the information they've given us.
Correct.
Okay.
So, in any way. But the maze obviously looks like the,
Viturian Man or whatever.
yeah. Then there's like a labyrinth around it. I'm wondering if the maze is not necessarily like a labyrinth or a maze, you know what I'm saying? But it's a way for them to get out.
I mean, that's what Dolores was saying, was it's not meant for you, it's meant for us. So just becoming that self-awareness of we are host in the wrong world.
I don't know. I mean, the maze to me is that's Arnold's thing he created. That's the reason you found it there next to the bottle of liquor and his glasses and everything else. So this was a symbol of what his mission was to create AI, human emotion in a machine, and this is the symbol of a maze, to get there.
But
I don't
also,
think it has any more symbolism than that.
But doesn't it feel like when the guy looked at it, something clicked?
Yeah.
Almost like we thought the flies were doing.
Mm-hmm. And the flies were there.
And the flies were there. So it's like, I think they almost did that to mess with you. The fact that there was a fly around the damn thing.
I mean, there definitely has to be.
And everything, yeah.
Yeah.
Saw it.
So it's like when he looked at that, some code switched in his head.
Mm-hmm. You could almost say like the fly bit him and then gave him the code.
Right.
Or it's just like you said. Because he does look at it, stares at it for a few seconds, and then it's like, boom.
He literally looks up, and he's like, memories hitting him. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, it's some visual.
And then, did the grandmother see it, and that's how she started getting the memories and everything?
No.
Or did
she started to realize that her son was different.
Yeah.
That's what she was remembering, that they had swapped her sons out.
Okay, and I didn't realize if...
Everybody that he said, like he said, I'm teaching anyone to remember this and memorize it. And that's why his own guy let him scalp him and all the other stuff. He was really trying to make sure he left it marked everywhere because he thought that was that important.
And it was.
And it was, which I thought was pretty cool.
But I thought they really focused on the fact that it was a man in the middle of the circle. You know what I'm saying?
This time around, they definitely did. Because like even when he was crafting it, like we looked and we almost paused when he's making the last leg.
Yeah, exactly.
Are we talking about his tripod, or are we talking about like?
But yeah, I just the stuff. It's kind of like what they did with Dolores.
Yeah.
With her father. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
She's super pissed. Man in Black, old memory. Now he's super pissed because they replaced his girlfriend, wife, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I feel like it mirrors Dolores' story pretty well. And
I can see it to a point, yeah.
And now they're just trying to explain where the maze came from and why it's all over the place. But they haven't shown that everybody that got the maze on their scalp was having memories. Because there was a lot.
Yeah, there was.
You know what I mean?
Well, and Lawrence didn't have any memories or anything, and we know he had one on him, so...
I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's there because Maeve, like, couldn't control him at first, or couldn't control him at all. But she could, like, make him access his memories where he could see all the old shit. You know what I mean? So, man, I don't know.
And she can't control Ghost Nation, maybe because they already had access to all their memories and everything. We thought it was language, and I'm not even sure if that's what it is anymore.
Well, we've never seen her control an awake one, have we?
No.
An awake host. Like a Dolores, like a...
Potentially
even
Dolores and
Hector
Teddy. Like, we
something.
don't know, but like they kind of give, at least to me, they gave hints.
I think it's just a coincidence of the scene.
Okay.
I think if she wants to control them, she makes that effort. But every time you see a situation where you're like, oh, she could control them and doesn't, she's making another conscious decision to do something else. And it's in the heat of the moment. I mean, just like when they showed up, my whole argument is that, okay, well, just turn your magic juice on and do your Jedi mind tricks and make all of them, stick their heads in the horses' asses or whatever, and that's the end of it. Instead, she went to her parental instinct of running over there to get the child instead of thinking, wait a minute, I can control all of this, if that makes sense. Which I liked and I didn't like. You want to feel like once you've had the ability to kill 100 samurai soldiers,
You would think that becomes your default.
that should be like, okay, snap my fingers and y'all go ahead and break your necks, or whatever. She didn't. Just like she ran into a town, this old town with her daughter and acted like she was in real danger. To everything going on, that really surprised me as well. Until where she goes, oh, okay, wait a minute, I can use this ability.
But that's the thing, though. She wasn't able to control a Ghost Nation.
Well, maybe not control, but she is talking to him by the end of the episode.
By the end of the
I
episode.
don't think she ever made an effort. There's nothing on screen that showed visually that she was making an effort to control a Ghost Nation.
Well,
I said the first
not
time.
with the brain power thing.
Correct.
She did it with the
Verbal,
in which we learned that if you're not speaking their language, I get all that. Ever since then, you've never seen her twitch her eyes or make it look like she's trying to talk to him or anything like that.
Right.
That's always been off there. Which, like I said, here nor there, that wasn't the big thing here. But it shows that she could do it because she was in a room and broadcasting to them across the park.
Yeah.
Oh, no, she had new. This is kind of a new power.
Well, it's a more amplified.
Or, yeah, a new amplitude or whatever, yeah.
And so on. And because, I mean, like, even Hale's like, who in the F she talking to? And then you see,
her having a full-on conversation
with this guy way on the other side of, Dodge, which was something different. Now, the one other thing that I talked to Cash about this, and the landscapes were amazing, beautiful, but I made a point to why they kept showing the same landscapes from different angles. And a few episodes, especially in episode, I think it was 1, 2, where they have the flooded area, I put a picture out there. I said there's a flat top mountain in the background, and then there's like 6 or 7 jagged little pointed mountains. They showed those mountains 9 times in 9 different frames on this episode. Every time you saw, what's his name, I can't remember. Okay. Looking into a distance or seeing something, or even the underground structure that they were covered like that, those same jagged rocks were in the background. Closer, farther away, the exact same ones over and over and over again. To me,
so you think this is possibly the flooded area?
To me, this is a key. I mean, think about this episode. Like Cash and I were saying, we don't feel like there's a lot of things that help progress what the current plot line is. Instead, it just answered a bunch of holes we've had from the past, even one from the previous season. Okay? Yes, it gives you a little bit moving forward, but not a whole lot. Okay? But if it's answering holes or filling those holes that are so on, it can also show us new clues. And I feel like those pointed rocks in the background, there's a visual cue to something that's very important.
Well, it's very possible. I mean, because they lingered on that shot of the flooded area.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
To show you those, almost look like sailboats,
Exactly.
With those jagged rocks. No, you could definitely be on something. I didn't notice it at all.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at this episode going, well, first of all, I wanted the episode going, I'm really worried about this episode because I hope it's not an hour of just Ghost Nation, in which it was
essentially
51 minutes of Ghost Nation. So I'm sitting there telling myself, I said, there's a reason they would show you this and show you this now. And I think this story is so well written and so well put together, and to make the viewer really have to work to see all the crumbs that they're giving you. And so to me, that was one of the things that popped out of me. I was like, why do they keep showing the landscape? So I watched it a second time, and boom, I was counting it. Man, like 9 different ways they show you. And then, like when y'all were talking about painting, like he was doing the mazes, I could have swore the maze was a little different a couple different times they drew it. But I just chalked that up to you're drawing something from memory. You're not looking at the original. So I'm looking for even the most subtle little things. Like when he walked in there and found his girl in cold storage with the badass music of, I think it's Nirvana. Nirvana.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I was just sitting there jamming, it didn't need no words. It was so.
The music also
nailed the music. It's ridiculous.
It was just phenomenal. So I went through there and I was looking at every person. Like, are they going to show us somebody
that has a little bit of movement
we should know or should see, or is this a clue? Which they really didn't. All you saw was they made sure there was a generous selection of male penises everywhere first to see, before you got to the lot more females. Which that has definitely been a theme this season, the dong versus the other. But you notice this is all the exact same set of old doors of the Mesa. Yeah, y'all see that when he came down there and the doors opened up? Those are the same old WestWorld logos, so they've shown the same places.
This is whatever 64th below floor or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And so all those little things I was trying to figure out. Is it a clue that he is a second-generation alpha model that hasn't been updated in 9 years?
It means he hasn't died.
Yeah.
Like he's supposed to in a long time.
Repetitively, yes.
But I guess they just didn't build any story to where Ghost Nation dies like they do everybody else.
I don't know because...
Well, like the guy said... The only reason we go pick them up and change or fix anything is if their unit's dead and offline. And so he said he made a point to make sure I never died and everything else. which is really cool. But it's also, wow, how do you make it through all the towns and all the areas he did as the way he was dressed with nothing but a knife on your belly?
Yeah.
Without some just random guy just going, oh, look, pow, just to shoot him.
Remember, he did. He almost died, and that's why the little girl he's so attached to, she saved him.
Right.
The one time he almost did die.
But I mean, for it to only happen one time, you're
Right.
just
Oh,
like,
that's me. To me, like him walking in there should have been 10 people going, I'm going to give me an Indian. And,
I agree with you, but I'm just saying, like, at least they did show.
at least
he
close
did
call.
have to one skirmish.
He said, I've had fight for my life several times. One time nearly died, but she
because
saved
he was afraid he
me.
was going to lose his memory ever.
The smallest glass of water in history is what revived me all the way back to full health.
Yeah.
That's how they heal so fast, Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that this episode kind of I had thoughts about.
Yeah.
And the fact that you mentioned that this could be the floodplain, that the little symbol kind of looks like the human printer that we've seen in the credits since the show started.
Yeah.
It makes me think that, I mean, maybe all of them aren't dead in that water, but that they have moved bodies. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like if they've changed to a different body and then went out the door. And then that's where they all...
Well, Cash and I had this conversation last week, and I read it again. Teddy is dead in the water in a cowboy outfit.
Yep. And then he's naked in the mesa.
And then he is in the blacked out, combat uniform, two-gun, Dirty Harry.
Two-gun detonator.
Yeah.
In the last episode, and so on. When, you see that where the timelines are shaped. You know what I mean?
I know. It's tough now because we clearly see Floki
Yeah.
is walking around and there's the pile of bodies that they've clearly taken out of the water. And you see Teddy naked. That's how it was the confirmation that was him in the water.
Correct.
Exactly.
So it's like, when is that timeline?
Correct.
Where we thought we had already passed
But not only that, here's the problem, and this is what Cash and I came up with. Floki treats Arnold, or Bernard, picks him up on the beach and takes him over there and shows it to him like, that's our boss, you can't shoot him. Giving you that is the precursor to the other events. So you can't say we're coming back to that later.
No, that's the thing, is we don't know about Bernard's situation yet.
Floki does. They show you. They
I
find his
know.
copies and all that other stuff. So you can't have him wash up on the beach later and Floki look at him and go, you don't recognize who that is? You can't shoot. Don't shoot the boss. And then take him for a ride over there and him say, this is all my fault.
That's what I'm saying, though. We don't see that in-between thing where he possibly sends Bernard in. You know what I'm saying?
So you're saying that all my fault, that might be the end scene. Or like close to the end scene.
Close to the end is what I would think. Like, we know now that the Floki or whatever, I wish I knew his name from the damn show, has him. They just saw the copies. Mm-hmm. We know where he is. If
they might not know about the flood yet.
Right. If they decide to send Bernard to Dolores's group, to do something, on a mission or else, whatever the case may be, you know what I mean? Or he volunteers to go see if he can fix it. And then later on, we see him washed on the beach, and he's like, don't kill him.
Well,
and then he says, I killed all of them.
Well, the wash on the beach could have already happened. Like we were saying, that's already definitely happened. The flooded part of the area might not have happened yet. Is the only explanation that we have.
And that just goes back to...
It doesn't feel like it. It feels like they get him up off the beach, they walk him around, and then they take him over
in the
to
same
spot.
outfit. He doesn't have glasses, the whole 9 yards. The only thing that makes sense is what you're talking about is that if... the whole deal is that they have the consciousness of everybody, and they've recreated him, and this is the real deal. And they bring him back, and he's unaware of everything that's happened in the past. But that just doesn't make sense either, because he's talking about how many days he's been there, and then you've seen Floki see on all the bodies or at the kill site. I mean, they're going to have to do a major rope-a-dope to make this timeline make sense.
Well, no doubt. And Arnold's in his head now, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going where Arnold's telling him.
No, not
So-
Arnold. Ford.
I'm sorry. Yes,
Yeah.
Ford. Sorry. So we saw in last episode, he's not even with this group anymore. He's going where Ford's telling him to go.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like,
And that's after everybody's killed in there, and Floki was in there with him. And so you didn't see Floki die.
no. That's what I'm saying. There's some weird stuff. When he's picked up off the beach, that one soldier goes through those red cards, sees him, and then puts it back in her pocket.
Yeah.
It almost looks like her and Floki have two different
Priorities.
agendas. You know what I'm saying?
She almost looks like she's with the dude who gets punched to death. She almost looks like she's part of his crew versus part of Floki's crew.
Yeah, maybe like just an insider for whatever.
I don't know. But what they've shown so far, the timelines, man, they're going to have to do it. Like I said, they're going to have to really show me something and go, holy crap, that makes sense now. Which
I can only assume they will.
Yeah, I have the confidence. I have the confidence.
I have full confidence that they're going to, but right now it's very iffy.
Yes, it
Because
is.
we think we found a major time mishap.
Well, the Teddy's two different outfits,
After already knowing.
as of right now, make no sense.
I don't.
So we'll just have to see. You know what I mean? Because originally I was like, Trojan horse. I was all for
Yeah,
what
I
Zack
mean-
said. But now I'm just like, no, that's a pile of dead bodies.
Yeah, there's just a pile of dead bodies that
Yeah.
worked out beautifully. Oh, that was Carlos. And it was, oh, no.
You know, I'm onto the new theory now that, like I said, that symbol's really, like, they focused on it so much.
Correct.
And it makes me feel like your way out is to change your appearance, you know, into a new body and leave. You know, so they can't find you or whatever the case may be. At least can't see you.
They don't know what they're looking for because you're no longer in that body.
You could easily or more easily blend into, you know,
I can
normal
see it.
society if they can't be like, well, shit, there's Dolores. Well, we know what she looks like. You know what I mean? Something. I don't know.
The whole episode talked about the door. I believe there's a door. This is the door to the new world.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to get to the new world. This is glory, whatever you want to call it. And I believe that when they showed that one landscape and them building something on the ground, this is supposed to be your door.
The door.
The door.
They
And
showed
so-
the door. It was a
Yeah,
big
they did.
black rectangle.
So to me, this is voila. This is what everybody's headed towards, and that they're going there for freedom, a new world, however you want to look at it. I'm just trying to figure out what Bernard and Ford's angle is now.
Okay, well, Bernard and Ford's angle, Ford wants to continue, but we know he can only survive in this whatever.
Well, now we don't know where he can survive because he's inside of Bernard.
Right. But he can't be a person
Yeah, he
as
can't-
of right now.
Yeah, as of right now, he cannot.
So I don't know. I don't know where they're going with him yet.
I mean, him and Elsie are heading to the same place as everybody else, Glory.
What did y'all take from the scene with Ford where he's scalping everybody? He starts talking to him and he decides to help him. He said, well, maybe I'll just shine a little light for you.
Yeah, he's like, the least I can do is give you a little bit of information since I've kept you in the dark or something like that. And
Well, yeah, he said I've been watching you for a long time.
and you've been watching me. And it was a fun scene. I didn't see what he really showed a light on since he was just like, hey, when Deathbringer murders me, that's your signal to go.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. That was never Ford's purpose.
No.
Never Ford's intention to let them leave. To let hosts get out. To let hosts have feelings and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? He's talking about it. He's like, I created you to, you know, do this and do that. But Arnold is the one that has the idea that he said he thought died with him. You know, for hosts to become something more than machine.
True.
So it's strange to me because Ford's intentions are a little, you know, waffly now to me.
Well, I mean, and like we were talking about last week, it was just when Bernard and Ford were sitting there talking, he was like, I want to give you the opportunity and everything. And we were trying to decipher what that was. And ultimately, I think we just came up to having Bernard have a chance of the host coming to life.
Well, my take is that I think Ford was trying to get the answer for infinite life, and he didn't get the answer, as he explained. Just like Delos didn't survive the experiment because you can turn mad and degrade after so many days, and so he knew his time was running short based on the way the park was progressing, who was going to become owner, this, that, or so on. So he made the decision of, for him to be able to continue on is in his creation, but also to set his creations free so that they were never under control of anyone other than what he did. And so it's like somebody who owns their masterpiece. You don't want somebody else to continue your masterpiece after you're gone to get credit for it.
Okay, I really like that.
Well, what if...
To me, that's what you do. I mean, like if you paint a painting, you don't want somebody to come behind it and paint a little bit extra to make it a little bit better later on.
You don't want
that's
to change
your
their
final
image,
masterpiece.
yeah.
You want to make it where that is untouchable. That is only by your name, and only your name will ever be attached.
I took it as far as I could get it. Now no one else can come and alter
or
it.
I make it in a way that only it evolves the way I intended it. That was him and Arnold's dream, is to create this, and then it turned into something different.
Mm-hmm.
Arnold went his way, Ford did his way, and
But
everything else.
But what if Ford now realizes that his only chance to possibly be a walking around, person again is Arnold's way? You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the unanswered question. He doesn't. We're able to copy someone's consciousness. We're not able to adapt it to live forever anymore.
Right. But what is Dolores now?
She's the leader of the revolution.
But I'm saying, what is she? Is she what Arnold always wanted?
No,
Fully aware?
I don't think she's aware at all.
No,
I think she's following Ford's plan.
I still feel every host is a puppet in its own way.
Nah.
I
don't know.
It has, like, Dolores has tons of information, tons of knowledge, tons of memories, everything and so on, and she is aware. But like he said, all I had to do was open her up, and I knew she would kill me. I never asked her to pull the trigger. I knew what she would do.
And he said that, he predicted that in this episode.
Yeah. There'll be a day where, Deathbringer. So,
which also her having the name Deathbringer, coolest name in the world.
Right. And so, to me, that just knows what your creation's capable of, and being predictive of it like that. So the bottom line is that he knew how these hosts were going to act and what they were doing, and he's been a part of it everywhere. So much so that they led Bernard all the way to him so he could get in the ball and be gone as the cradle's destroyed. I mean, he is the puppeteer, and he has been the puppeteer ever since the beginning and is still the puppeteer now.
But do you think Ford's willing to die?
Mortally, yes. I mean...
100%, I'm talking about. 100% die. His conscience is in that little red ball.
Well, his conscience is in Bernard now.
I know.
Yeah,
the
with
little
the
red
ball.
ball. It's inside Bernard.
Gotcha.
I think so. Well, I mean, I think he's proven that. Because, he's dead. I mean, in reality, his body's dead.
I mean, he still took a chance.
Yeah.
And so, I mean...
See, I don't think so. I think he still wants a way.
I don't think he could be alive in, a real body and this be going on.
But he's alive inside Bernard right now.
But nobody knows that. But Bernard.
Right. But he knows that.
Correct.
So why wouldn't he want to be alive in another host to get out?
I don't know.
I don't think he wants to get out, though.
I don't know what
we
don't
even know if we can get out. Like, we still don't even know what the end game is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the question. 2 episodes left, and yes, I did it. I watched the preview, and holy snakes. So get ready for that one. But, anything else in the episode that was key to y'all? I mean, I understand he was trying to tell the girl that, he wasn't trying to attack the girl. He was just,
No, I mean,
he likes that he says, it's her, people have perceptions of what people intend, and,
Is Maeve dead?
No.
She looked like a filleted fish on that table. I don't understand why her neck and everything else was being cut up when she wasn't wounded up there.
The neck, I felt like they were going in to look at something as far as her
code
and shit. I don't know. The rest of the stuff, yeah. It felt like a...
Yeah, it felt like a goodbye.
It felt like I can't protect her, and that was my promise, but the Ghost Nation can.
Right, and she was like downloading all that information into him, telling him, you know.
I would be surprised if she's dead.
What purpose does what's his name have? The one that's trying to save her.
Sizemore?
Sizemore. What does he have? What's his purpose now if she's dead?
Well, she's the evolution of what he's always wanted to do.
And maybe he has to, somebody has to go tell Hector and them like what happened to Maeve.
I don't think he's.
I am really concerned that we'll ever see Hector again.
They brought Dragonface in and Snakeface together for nothing? No.
But I mean, how did they get to where they're going? I mean, Maeve is the only thing keeping them attached to anything.
Yeah, I mean, like, she's the bridge.
He doesn't have any reason to go fight Dolores or go to Glory.
No, but he has a reason to come get Maeve.
But that'd be like recycling the same thing. She came back to get him, and so he's coming back to get her.
I'm just saying, like
2 episodes left. Do you see Hector and the crew coming back to save Maeve?
Definitely. So in some form or fashion, either they come to save Maeve, or Sizemore goes to them to tell them what happened, and they decide.
I don't see any way
do
that he
something
goes
else.
to them. I mean, that just doesn't make sense.
But that's what they've been bothering him about. Remember the Asian guy that's been helping Maeve this whole time? He's like, he gets on to him, like, do something,
But I mean, he's done stuff
for his own
Preservation,
ass.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But I mean, no, he went and saved Maeve, and like
He has now.
Yes,
That's what I'm
We
saying.
think, yeah.
We see him acting in a more human way towards Maeve now. I think he says in this episode, he's like, you were right the whole time. I always was wrong. You shouldn't have been treated this way,
No, exactly. But seeing him reaching out to Hector is just a bridge too far for me. Like, I don't see it. I know I could see her sending like a last message to Hector and being like, hey, come get me.
But I can easily see him being the one that takes down Hale. You know what I'm saying? Because
You think they give that to him?
Well, they're about to try to use Maeve against the host.
Yes.
Use what they figured out inside Maeve against the host.
They're going to try to use her code in some shape, way, or form.
Either put her code into somebody else or wake Maeve up, reprogrammed to control the host to stop them.
Which I don't think is possible.
See, to me, I think Maeve is above all that. I think they're going to want her data to be able to analyze it. I don't think they're going to be able to replicate it with what looks to be a Civil War era, operation table of what they're doing. You know what I mean?
We've seen them be able to just upload and re-download to somebody else before.
Yeah, but nobody's ever had the code to be able to have
talk,
mentally or Bluetoothy or whatever you want to call it across the map.
Infrared.
Yeah,
she's like
she's
constantly
an anomaly.
upgrading. She's like a transformer almost, in the sense of like the code and everything, to where it's just always updating. And like, I don't see them being able to crack into that.
Yeah, to me, she's an anomaly.
I don't know. They're clearly excited about finding her code.
Oh, absolutely, as they should be. But I don't think they're going to be able to use it. Like, I don't see any way they're going to be able to hack into her or give her a command that she doesn't want to use. I think she's too powerful.
No, I don't think they want to use her. I think they want to use her
code. But I'm saying, like, I don't think they'll be able to use it, because I don't think it's going to be as simple as copy and paste it.
Yeah,
I mean, this is
use this.
Like, I feel like her code's alive in a sense. It's not something that's just written. It's something that's forever evolving.
I guess we'll see.
Yes, very much so.
But
other than that, man, there wasn't much else to the episode that I can think of off the top of my mind.
Well, I don't want to sit here and try to find stuff.
Those are the key things.
A beautiful episode. It
truly
really was
was.
gorgeous to look at. I realize it's not, on the same wavelength as all the other stuff. But
no, I mean, I don't even want to compare it to another WestWorld episode or anything.
And I also don't want to dash it either, because it's like, it's gorgeous to look at. I mean,
it was a fantastic hour of TV.
I understand. It's not what you were looking for. It's a weird placement of it.
Correct.
If this was the first or second episode of the season, you'd probably be fine.
Most likely, yeah. I think if it's the second or third episode, 100% all in on it.
You take out the Man in Black. I should be dead 20 minutes ago, 10 years ago.
Who knows how long ago this
I
thing
should
was?
have blood everywhere. I shouldn't have blood in my body from all the holes in me.
My suit should be red.
You take that part of him being able to just ride off with his daughter. The episode is impeccable. But him, crawling over to the river with 4 or 5 holes in him, and him picking him up and then bringing him over and dropping him on the ground and him laying there dying, and then talk to him a little bit and then put him on the horse, and he's able to hold himself up on the horse. And I mean, he was slumped over his horse. There should have been blood all over that horse. What a drop on it. But again, we don't know. For all we know, he rolled him over by the river, did some patchwork on him, but still, I still want to believe you're going to be bleeding out your mouth, out your body somewhere if you've got a gut shot. It's just me.
Yeah.
They did something to him, because she even asked the question, why patch him up? You know what I mean?
They just never showed it.
They just didn't show it.
And I really feel like they should have.
Yeah.
But
to me, that's a detail that didn't need to be left out.
One of those poultices, you're chewing up some leaf and shoving it in the wound.
Get a little bit of a pace,
No. He pulled out a bottle of peroxide and was just pouring it all over him. It's bubbling and fizzing.
I wouldn't have mind if literally he pulled out of one of his little pouches one of those laser fixers.
Yeah.
We already seen him use to fix a bullet hole. You know what I mean? Like,
literally,
this dude's been around for 10 years. He's seen things. He's seen the 4 ATV, 4-wheel ATV things.
Well, he's been around a lot longer than 10 years. Because, that was just the update. And, he's been out living even past that.
I'm just saying, he's been around 10 years of memory he knows of. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So, I would have been fine literally to see him pull one of those out. Be like, you know what this is.
Yeah. Well, that would have been cool, too, is if he had that was something else he could have shown that he's fixing the scalps with.
Absolutely.
If he had that ability,
done deal.
Then it shows that connection of, we can use this to heal him up, whatever.
WestWorld, hit us up. We got your patch holes in the episodes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, besides that, I think that's the episode, right,
yeah,
guys?
there's no doubt. It was, as Jake said, great episode, just timing, interesting placement of different things. But other than that, I liked it, Guys, what did y'all think? Did y'all think it was different? Y'all think it was off base? Think we're complete idiots? What? We're used to it. Let us know, man. We're on social media, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. We got a Gmail account. Don't hesitate to hit us up. Let us know. And join us, man. But other than that, guys, I think we're going to call it this week, and we look forward to the finale in a couple of weeks. Hopefully 9 will set the new tone and really get us salivating, but that's going to call it a day. So this is BleedTV, and I'm Zach.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Cash.
And we'll see y'all next week.